So this is going to be pretty informal. Um, so I work at WSP in environmental consultancy. Today I'm just going to run through my career journey, like applying for grad jobs and all that, and then who WSP are, what environmental consents is, and then my role with the graduate scheme. So I'm regretting putting this picture up now, but I started similar to all of you. I did my A levels, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do after that. So I took a gap year and then I started looking at careers, and all I really knew is that I liked studying geography. So I applied to uni, went to uni, and then in my final year, it was kind of a panic. Everyone was looking at grad jobs, grad schemes, masters, and whatnot. Um, I was applying for graduate schemes, but didn't get any in my final year. So then I was like, I'm gonna take a break, take like another gap year, I guess. And I did some traveling, so I went to South America at the bottom there. But yeah, I was just like carry on applying. I did some work experience, did some extra courses, and then I was lucky enough to get a place on the WSP Environmental Consent Graduate Scheme. So who is WSP? Well, they're one of the world's leading professional service firms with engineering, advisory, and science-based expertise. They're all brought together to create a positive impact in their projects. Um, and like they're all the projects are focused around like envisioning the future and creating like positive changes and bringing them together through technical knowledge and innovations. Um, it's quite a big company. There's so many different sectors and services you can get involved in. I think I put it on the last slide. Yeah, there's over 100 sectors and 180 services. These are just some random ones. You've got communities, mobility, earth and environment, which is what I'm in, energy and water, planning, policy, advisory, transport infrastructure, properties, management services, and the list goes on with different engineering, or you can get really niche with air quality and things like that. So yeah, due to the amount of different services and sectors, there's loads of different offices. I think there's about 10,000 employees now in the UK. And yeah, you can see how many offices there are, and you get to work with everyone from different offices, which is really good. And then also there's about 73,000 employees worldwide, based in like over 500 different countries like Australia, Argentina, America, loads of Europe ones. But WSP have this really good thing where you can transfer to work in another country doing the same role. So you can do a bit of traveling that way. So more about my sector. I'm in Earth and Environment. This covers so many different things, but as a sector, it's like the priority to understand our clients' needs and provide real-time solutions with our projects. So we help clients manage and reduce impacts, mitigate risk, maximize opportunities related to sustainability, climate change, energy, environment, and loads more different things. Environmental consent specifically is what I do. I don't know if you're like aware what environmental consent is. I definitely wasn't when I applied for the job, but it's basically the process of obtaining the necessary legal requirements, making sure you follow the right policies to gain legal consents to start building these projects and get on with them. Depending on the size of the project, these can be like through local councils, or the really big ones are through like the government. Um, and then this is done through environmental impact assessments. There's a very long process, but these basically outline the different impacts or different constraints that a project may have, and highlights any issues that it might have going forward. Um, So this is the whole process of an environment impacts assessment. You start off, you've got screening, which is what every project will go through to see if it determines that a full-blown environmental impact assessment needs to take place, looking at everything in a lot more detail. And then you go to scoping, which is identifying the key environmental issues and defining the areas of scope within the assessment. So like for ecology, you might like define a 5 kilometer radius around a project and be like, there's this many natural reserves and whatnot that will be affected by the project. This gets taken into baseline studies where they'll run assessments and gain findings of what the impact could be. And then this takes you on to impact assessments where you write up your findings, say like this will have this impact and whatnot. And then that takes you into mitigation measures. So you don't want the project to have a bad effect on the environment or social measures or anything like that. So we've come up with ways to mitigate these impacts. And then this all gets put together in a lovely, massive report. Most of the time, that's our role, putting together a report and writing it. And then this gets taken to consultation. This can be with statutory consultees, so they're like government bodies and that, or you can have non-statutory, which could be like wildlife trusts or local volunteer groups, which are normally quite interested in projects. These are some well-known WSP projects. So you've got like HS2 rail. I know most of it got cancelled, but there's one part that didn't, that we're still part of. Then you've got Heathrow expansion, Campion wind farm, which is really cool because that's a floating wind farm off Scotland, I believe it is. And then you've got like coastal defences. This picture there is just, I think that's Bournemouth, just down the coast. And then you've got loads of other things like subsea cables, road schemes, property development, and the list goes on really. So more about my role specifically, just expanding a little bit. It's a very large team. I work specifically in infrastructure related projects. So as a graduate, I'm able to get involved with loads of different things, and all my projects are based at different timelines. So I'm at different stages in every project, which is really nice to get to like a good overview of the whole process. We work really closely with clients and engineers trying to understand what the project will be. And we get like the outlines of the scheme boundaries and the specific designs. And then we relay this information to topic specialists who then undergo the assessments. But it's a really nice role because you get to have like a high level general view of loads of different topics. I know when I was at uni, I didn't really have like one favorite thing. I just kind of like a generalist. So yeah, it's really nice. You get to do like a bit of air quality or a bit of water, a bit of ecology, and yeah, you just get to work closely with the topics, but you're not expected to know topic knowledge. So that's really nice. Um, yeah, and that's just like working at early stage design through to optioneering, where different designs of the projects are come up and you kind of choose which one you think's best. And this happens between lots of different teams. So the environment do like their own assessment, engineering sometimes do theirs, and then sometimes you might have like land-based ones or policies. Yeah, but this image is kind of what I look like on the daily. So a lot of my team are scattered around the country on my projects. Most of them are in Manchester. So yeah, it's a lot of being on the phone, doing meetings, and yeah, just a lot of online stuff. But sometimes you do get the opportunity to go out on site. So I've had the opportunity to go with ecology to do some surveys in, I want to say Lincolnshire, and we were looking at great crested newts. Sadly didn't find any, but that was part of the survey, I guess. Um, and then more of what I do day to day. So it's coordinating the topic specialists, making sure they meet deadlines and they've got the right information they need to do their assessments. And then very rarely we have to write the full report on our own. But if we do, then we have to do all the assessments ourselves and look into each topic specifically, but it's very, very general and not the most detailed. But other than that, we coordinate the topics into the reports and get that moving. And then we also do survey management. So when topics are out on site, making sure they've got the right land access, they know where they're going, making sure they're aware of certain constraints. So in Scotland, a lot of the year is covered by shooting seasons. So it's making sure they know if one's taking place by a landowner or if like there's areas of bird flu going around. So they're not allowed to go and study certain animals. And yeah, this all gets put together really towards consultation. And that's when like your report's written up and you, yeah, submit it for approval, and it will go through a very rigorous process of approvals, and there'll be a lot of comments back and forth from different stakeholders, or it depends on the client as well sometimes. But yeah, that's kind of the final step with trying to get consents for the project, and it's on there and then to actually go and get approval. So these more specific examples of projects that I've got involved with so far. So I've only been here for 7 months, so my knowledge on them is still very, very small. But my main project is Eastern Green Link 3 and 4, which is the big blue picture of the country. And these are subsea cables, then to on-land cables, basically connecting wind turbines and loads of energy generated in Scotland down to a converter station in Lincolnshire, and then that's gonna like spread out through the country as part of the Great Grid upgrade with National Grid. This is a massive project. There's like hundreds and hundreds of people on it. In my team, there's about 20 of us. But because it's so big, it's kind of broken down. Your roles are more specific. So my roles on this one are cumulative effects. So when the topics have written up their reports and stuff, I'll go through and like link together what the effects are and like how they'll impact each other, and maybe there's like a snowball effect, and that gets written up into a separate report. And then I'm also I'm in a group that are involved with stakeholder engagement. So where, like, for example, where it goes through Lincolnshire County, they want to know every impact it's going to have. So we have weekly meetings with them based on different topics. So this week it was heritage, and apparently they have lots of archaeological remains. So we were looking at where they were located, how deep our cable was going to be underground, and if it would affect them. And my role in that is just kind of take meeting minutes and pass it back to the topic specialist. But yeah, sometimes it can be quite hard because the counties don't really want your projects to happen. They don't want the disruption, they don't want the effects caused, and to be fair to them, they're not getting any benefits of this coming in at the end of it. So yeah, it can be quite hard sometimes, but just pass it down the line to people that are dealing with it. And then another one of my projects is Dublin Metrolink. This one's a bit different, so I've actually got a topic specialist role on this, specifically population and land use, because it's such a massive project and it's in the news quite a lot in Ireland. It's gone through like the consenting process, and now they're going through design changes. There's like tiny little things like adding a fire extinguisher here and there. And then there's other things like that it's underground in some places and it's changing the direction or avoiding this or adding this. And basically, my role is to look at these design changes and assess if it will affect population, amenities, different land uses to what they expected previously. In most cases, it doesn't make a difference at all, but sometimes specific